Hey everybody, this is Nate. You're watching WASD20. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of a new series I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but there's just going to be a lot of musing on games, why we play games, and what games do. And today's topic is going to be on secondary worlds. And when I say secondary worlds, I'm talking about the worlds of our imagination, the worlds of maybe science fiction or fantasy novels, or role-playing games, of course, or video games. I think that many times we as gamers are stigmatized for our desire to retreat into these secondary worlds. I think that that stigma in some ways is dying down as a lot of this stuff becomes more mainstream. Superhero movies, The Lord of the Rings, and other things like that become more mainstream. I think we receive less criticism for it, but I still think there's a bit of a stigma attached to it. And I really do feel the question is worth asking. What are we doing when we escape into these secondary worlds? Is it really escape? And if so, is that a bad thing? Are we merely turning our backs on reality in favor of these worlds of our imagination? Now, don't get your hopes up that I'm going to answer all these questions, but I do hope I can provide some insight and at least share my opinion a bit. I'll tell you a little story here, and then I'm going to share a quote that I really like. So the story first. A couple weeks back, my good friend Matt Click of A Fistful of Dice, check out his channel, he messaged our gaming group, The Provokers, and sent a picture of a log that had fallen in a forest. And he included with it the message, "Look guys, I found Migrog's club," or something like that. And Migrog was a giant that we'd encountered in one of our previous adventures in D&D, and we all got a bit of a chuckle out of that. But immediately a quote also came to my mind, and it's a quote that I really love, that speaks to this kind of discovery and how the worlds of our imagination can enrich our lives. So here it is. It's from C.S. Lewis. And I got this from, I first read it in Kevin Scott's book of Games and God. The value of the myth is that it takes all the things we know and restores to them the rich significance which has been hidden by the veil of familiarity. The child enjoys his cold meat, otherwise dull to him, by pretending it is buffalo, just killed with his own bow and arrow. And the child is wise. The real meat comes back to him more savory for having been dipped in a story. By putting bread, gold, horse, apple, or the very roads into a myth, we do not retreat from reality, we rediscover it. The child is wise, he says. We are wise when we allow these secondary worlds, the worlds of our imagination, to enrich our primary world and to enliven it. So, the log becomes a giant's club. The moss-covered tree with huge roots and holes in between becomes a hobbit's home. Looking up at snowflakes whizzing by becomes like being in the Millennium Falcon and kicking it into hyperdrive. My own dad modeled this sort of thing for me when I was growing up, and I'm trying to do the same with my kids, to take a mundane, everyday object and say, "Look, this is a," fill in the blank, some amazing science fiction or fantasy thing, right? And it's just a lot of fun. And it might seem immature, but again, it enriches our lives. Now, I have to confess at times that I have overemphasized these pursuits to the detriment of real-life stuff. And I think we have to be cautious of that too. Let's not take this inherent value in secondary worlds as license to retreat further or more often to the detriment of other things in life. If you're a student, apply yourself. A working person, I have to apply myself. As a parent, you can probably hear my kids in the background a little bit here. I need to make sure I give them, my wife, the time they deserve. Still, I don't know about you, but I think that there is still that stigma attached. I sometimes feel it, or maybe it's just a personal sort of embarrassment I have that I need to let go of. And I need to start standing up for the things that I love more often. And I need to try to help open others' eyes to see that there is real value in the space of secondary worlds. It can enrich our lives. So, how are you delving into secondary worlds? Is it a role-playing game? Is it a book? Is it a movie? Is it a computer or video game? And are you letting that enrich your primary world? That's all for this one, everybody. This has been WASD20. I'm hoping to do a lot more of these sorts of musings, so if you enjoyed it, make sure you like it. Leave a comment below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, happy gaming, everybody take care.